We're going on to part 5, the space hippos. Nah, we're gonna switch that. All right, space hippos. It's gonna be adding our first baddie. So it wants us to add that sprite, which I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna add something else. So we went to the sprite, going to fantasy. Yep, a griffin. There we go. That took up half the screen. So the first thing it wants to do is set the sprite's rotation, which really means to change the direction. But our sprite is going the right direction, so we'll just keep it like that. And it gave us some ideas of style, but it's essentially saying what we're already doing. Now that we added this new sprite, we're going to add some code. So just like the lightning bolt, we're going to start with a when clicked and a hide. So we're going back to the same thing we did last time. So now this code exists for the griffin. And similar, we're going to add some code to the stage to create a new hippo clone every few seconds. So we'll just change hippo with griffin. So with every few seconds. So let's do a when clicked every few seconds, which means we're going to do a forever like we did last time. So this is constantly going to happen. But in this case, we need to have a repeat, or actually, can we have a repeat constantly? All right, so we're going to have forever. It's just going to keep happening. And let's do every few seconds. Let's go and grab this wait. And instead of having it wait 1 second, which is just one single, well, it's a set variable. So we're having 1 or 2 or 3, but we want it to kind of vary from 1, 2, 3 seconds. So we in this case, we want a random number, but a random number between, let's say, 2 and 4. So we're going to go to this green block, which is operators. And as you can see, this is usually using 1 or 2 numbers to either compare or to provide some sort of operation. So 1 plus 1, 1 minus 1, 1 minus 1 equals, or multiplication. So these are the operators. But in this case, we're going to pick this one, pick this random one, where it says pick a random from 1 to 10. And the reason we're doing that is because we want it to come up randomly. We don't want the game to seem consistent where every 1 second a new griffin's coming out, because then it wouldn't be, well, you know what's happening. So let's actually change that pick random from 1 to 4, which means it's going to be a random number between 2 and 4, or from 2 to 4. That means 2, 3, and 4. So wait a random number of seconds in between 2 and 4. So it's either going to be 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or 4 seconds. And after that, we're going to create a clone. So just like we've done before, we're going to create a clone of myself, since we're in the griffin. And that should add a clone every few seconds. But the problem is it's going to add it in the exact same location. So we need that clone to randomly show up across the screen, but we also can't have it randomly showing up right where the spaceship is. So we need to show up not just on the screen, but at the top. And I just realized this thing is still taking up the entirety of the screen. So let's do what we did with lightning bolt and set the size at 45%. And let's do that. So we're hiding it. Let's show it. There we go, that size. And it's actually going to keep making a clone on top of itself. So the last part of our loop is we wait, we create the clone, but we actually have to set it in a different location. So let's do this. We're going to go here, and this go to X and Y means it's going to put it somewhere on this screen or stage, but because those numbers are consistent, it's going to be putting that in the same location every single time. So this is minus 100 and 79, so that's 79 up, minus 100 this way, so this is that exact point on the stage. We don't want it to put it there every single time. That's what it's doing right now. We actually want it to randomly put it in different positions. So we're going to use this same operator, which is pick a random number from 1 to 10, and we're going to put that in this X block here. So essentially, what it's going to constantly do is put this griffin, or the clone of the griffin, up here, but somewhere on the x-axis between 1 and 10, which is very small. So let's do this. Let's see where the screen ends. Screen ends at 234, minus 234. So that's, I'm saying screen, but we'll say stage. Minus 227 and 206. So that's the range we're going to use with this pick random. So we'll type in pick random between minus 227 and we'll just do positive 227. And it's at 79. Let's bring that up a bit to 133. All right. So what that's going to do is constantly create a clone that's going to go somewhere up here on the stage and somewhere in between the right side and the left side of the stage so that it's random. All right, we're testing out that code. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, but we got one problem. It's never going to show up because we didn't tell it to show up. So let's do this. Let's add a show. Grab that here. Create clone. And go to the position and show. All right. So let's do this. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right, looking good. So now that we've done that, we actually want that character to move on its own. So every sprite or character that is the griffin is going to be moving on its own in a random way. So the next step is to create a new variable. So instead of using these blocks that are already predefined, we're going to go to a new block, which is down here. Let's do this. And as you can see, there's no blocks in here because we got to make our own. So we're going to make this variable, and according to here, as the instructions say, we're going to make this variable only available to our griffin bad guy. So it's not going to be a block that we can use in the spaceship or lightning. We're going to make it only available to the griffin, because in this case, the griffin is the only one that needs it. And that variable is going to be called speed. So as you can see, we can make this variable for all the sprites, but in this case, we're going to just do it for this sprite only. Cool. So once I hit enter, you see a new variable called speed and these new blocks. So now that I've done that, why did I do that? Oh, here we go. So the reason why we did that is so when a clone is created, which is what we're already doing, we can now set a speed randomly like we've done before, and that position randomly. And when we show it, it's going to be essentially moving to that random speed as it's put in that position. So from that point on, it's going to be moving. And that's why we call it our variable speed, because it's about how fast it moves per second. So when I start a clone, set speed, go to random. That's interesting. They got a when I start a clone, pick a random speed and start place for it. That show. Okay, so let's just do set speed here. That's interesting. They got that in a whole different block. Because I think they actually added the when I start a clone here, but we'll see if I can pull this off without following their exact direction. That's what you gotta do. You gotta write your own code sometimes. Because I think mine's gonna work. And we don't have to write code exactly the way someone else does, because it's all about getting to the end result. There is an idea of clean code or efficient code, but that comes with practice. So right now, we're just going to get it done. So 2 and 4. So we're setting the speed randomly from 2 to 4. Now, I don't think that's going to move because you just set the speed from 2 to 4, but that doesn't actually mean anything right now. And that's actually what's saying here. So if we click that, yes, you set a speed, which is a variable, but that doesn't actually create speed. It's just a number that represents what the speed would be. And as you can see up here, it's changing 4 to 4 to 2. So actually, I thought it was going to go from 2 to 3 to 4, but it seems to only be using 2 and 4, not anything in between. I thought it was going to use that, but I guess that code block only uses the two numbers provided. And I'm incorrect. So 3 was just harder to come by. It's a 1 in 3 chance. All right. Anyway, so as you can see over here, it's saying that that's not going to move because you need another function or a loop that's going to allow for it's going to allow for it to move at a consistent pace until something happens. In this case, until the lightning bolt gets hit or touches it. So to make this happen, you're going to attach the code below to blocks inside the Hippos sprite code. So it wants us to add a loop. It's going to use the speed variable, and it's going to use that speed variable until it bounces off it's actually going to use the speed variable and bounce off the edge until lightning touches it, then it's going to delete itself. Okay, so with that, I could actually just throw this in to that same block, but why? I'd actually just like it to be cleaner, so let's not do that. and see if we can get away with having it outside of this instruction or a set of code. And do our repeat until. Going to add a touching. This case, it's going to be the lightning. And we're going to move blank steps, which is actually this block. But instead of saying 10 steps, we're going to take our variable speed that's my alarm. And we're going to put it into that block as the actual integer number, but in this case, the variable. So that speed is set by this block here, which is a random number between 2 and 4, from 2 and 4. And then we're going to add a turning function to make it turn consistently. So it's going to turn 15 degrees to the right or clockwise. And instead of 15 degrees, we're going to add another random, put it in here, and make it go back and forth. So minus 10 degrees, which will go back counterclockwise, and then 10 degrees. So from minus 10 to 10 degrees, it's going to be moving or turning. And if it hits the edge, or when it hits the edge under motion, it's going to bounce. So this says when it clicks, or when the flag is clicked, it's going to repeat this set of steps until the lightning touches it. Then it's going to end those set of steps and move on to the next instruction, which in this case is going to be deleting itself. So delete this clone. Now I think I know exactly why I need to put this inside this create a clone loop, because that might just delete every griffin on the stage. So let's see if that's true. Got my spaceship. I'm shooting this guy. Yeah, they all stop. And they stop moving. Because now that I've shot it with lightning, it's not just... yeah, so basically, this code is still running, which is creating these clones over and over. But because one of the griffins touched the lightning, it then stopped the movement because that was inside this block, which is outside of the create the clone. So basically, we have to put this all together to make sure that it's only deleting the clones that are created, or the clone that got hit by the lightning. Otherwise, it's going to stop all that code. So I cannot do it the way that I was trying to do it, because I wanted it a bit more clean. So I'm going to grab this set of code, and then after setting the motion or going to, I'm going to create this repeat. Look at this huge block. So there is a way to create clone of myself, set, go to, and this is happening forever. And then you show it. So it says repeat until touching. Yeah, this does not look like it's going to work. So let's do this. Let's just run it and see what happens. How did I use? There we go. Yep. So it doesn't delete it because this delete block is still in this larger loop. So take you out. And I need a forever probably around this so that this is constantly happening. And let's try that again. Maybe I can get my aim right. Get off me. Nah. So, wow. Let's take that hint. That's what's happening. Yep, got it. So I've got a when clicked, hide, when clicked, forever, wait, create a clone. But the problem is I'm not separating that created clone from the clone itself. Essentially, I need to have a different event for when I start as a clone. Cool. So when I start as a clone, set speed, go to, show, then do this until that happens. And this clone, or every clone that started, has this code associated with it. And that's different than this set of code is creating the clones. So this is just going to create the clones, and this is the instructions for the clones themselves, which means that that instruction can set and run and stop without the other set of instructions stopping. Solution. So sometimes you gotta struggle through it. That's just part of it. But you're learning. At least I am. So that should be it for the Griffin. Making sure the lightning touches the Griffin. Griffin is making the clones. And when the lightning touches the Griffins, they will delete themselves as separate entities or separate objects because they're clones of the first one. All right, so got that figured out. On to the next one.